People's attention was always piqued by Sigma INFJs since they were mysterious individuals. They can't help but materialize these unusual things in their daily life, from their thoughts to their interactions with others. These 10 peculiar behaviors are exclusive to Sigma INFJs. Number 10, they deceive others by playing mental games. Although the Sigma INFJ may come across as indifferent or uninterested in discussions, they are actually very aware and involved. Their brains pick apart social cues from people's spoken and nonverbal cues to determine how best to respond to them in the future. Sigma INFJs try to match people's emotions in order to make friends or grab their attention. They use this strategy to bargain for what they want out of a relationship or to have things done their way. The problem is that many INFJs have a talent for manipulation. They may manipulate people's reactions and impressions by using their intellectual prowess to comprehend and permeate people's reasoning. However, Sigma INFJs employ this skill appropriately and moderately, in contrast to poisonous manipulators. They are capable of manipulation intellectually, but it doesn't mean they would use it to harm other people. 9. They neither smile nor laugh if they are not amused. When a Sigma INFJ doesn't laugh at jokes, others assume they're weirdly unresponsive and eliminate joy. However, the truth is that Sigma INFJs don't pretend to be nice people. If they don't truly love something, they don't act like they do. They are authentic in their feelings and self-expression. So, if they don't think a joke is hilarious, they won't pretend to be aloft. If they think a lie is implausible or overdone, they won't even pretend to believe it. Like all INFJs, Sigmas are still quite emotional, but they also have self-control. Only if they so choose may they respond to people's energies. If people want to react to drama, they can, not because they accidentally did. It won't, however, make Sigma INFJs less courteous if they don't always react to social situations in a way that conforms to social norms. It is great to refuse to be people pleasers and hypocrites. Do some of your fellow Sigma INFJs get upset with you too since you don't laugh back at jokes? 8th, they are deeply focused on their meditation. Sigma INFJs are people who strive for the highest level of self-awareness. They deeply explore who they are by spending time alone and in meditation. They don't talk about this practice as much with their relatives and peers, though. They don't talk as much about how this practice improves their relationships, health, and general quality of life. Why? Because they don't care how others perceive their meditation. They simply appreciate it for what it is. Thus, they have no interest in persuading others to follow suit. They have little interest in allowing others to share their level of engagement and immersion in their well-being. People are allowed to be and do what they like. In the first place, this is what makes a Sigma INFJ so great. They won't ask others why they don't meditate as often or challenge their routines. It's because they understand that everyone has different preferences. Therefore, Sigma INFJs would like to keep it a secret once they have experienced this inner feeling and become so absorbed. It's joyful because you're doing it and loving it without shouting about it. 7th, being silent for a while and then speaking out loud afterwards. When it comes to social situations, Sigma INFJs don't strive to communicate in an attempt to impress. In order to keep the conversation from becoming awkward, they won't answer. They can easily remain silent when they have nothing more to say. They are able to politely decline to respond when they are unsure. They don't talk unless they intend to. They don't speak up because it's expected of them. Rather, they do it when necessary. When they have a lot to say, though, the reverse takes place. This explains how they can be silent 1 minute and then take center stage in a conversation the next. INFJ Sigmas have sophisticated minds. They are able to make more sense than everyone else in the conversation because they watch, evaluate, compile information, and then relate it to the larger picture. How does being a silent spectator during debates help you as a Sigma INFJ? 6th, they don't need to chat a lot to enjoy each other's company. Sigma INFJs yearn to go through picturesque areas in a car or on foot while enjoying their favorite tunes. That seems peculiar, doesn't it? Wait till you see how much they detest talking to anyone outside while taking in the scenery and the fresh air. Only Sigma INFJs value their quiet and won't speak to anyone else. They won't even try to act interested in the discussion. Therefore, riding with folks who can't seem to stop talking for longer than 5 minutes is the last thing they want to do. If everyone would just leave them alone, Sigma INFJs would appreciate the beautiful scenery and excellent music even more. They won't, however, order people to stop talking so they may have some privacy. Rather, they will pick their favorite company with care. To avoid always being irritated by loud individuals, they will be very selective about who they spend time with. Number 5, they convey their strong feelings through art. Why, though, would Sigma INFJs conceal this? It's because they don't want the outside world to realize how deeply unhappy they really are. They want people to keep to their own readings of their work and not evaluate it based on how intensely emotional, sexual, and intense the underlying connotations may be as soon as they see it. The meanings behind the artistic manifestations of Sigma INFJs are always kept private. They also detest being perceived as the strange and sensitive ones, which explains why. Since they are only special beings surviving in a vast planet that also need room for venting, they don't want people to view them as more complicated and less sympathetic. What other ways do you, as a Sigma INFJ, communicate your deepest feelings and thoughts? Fourth, they harbor offensive beliefs in order to avoid starting pointless disputes. When voicing contentious thoughts, Sigma INFJs use caution, whether at work or at home. When and how they express themselves is up to them. Additionally, they exercise caution when disclosing these viewpoints, not because they avoid exposing people's vulnerabilities, but rather because they detest conflict. In any case, Sigma INFJs don't apologize for having such strong, disagreeable views on politics, society, religion, and culture. The reason for this is that they weren't created anyplace. Before they make these assumptions, they make sure they are standing on a solid, legitimate, and trustworthy basis. They won't think twice to stand up for what they believe in, though, if someone makes them feel the need to speak up. When the need arises, they won't use energy suppressing and containing their need to defend themselves. Number 3, they abruptly end relationships. Those around Sigma INFJs frequently don't anticipate their departure. Sigma INFJs won't have to let their feelings or personal opinions cloud their judgment when making the decision of whether or not to stay because they are patient observers. They aren't the kind of people that demand things all the time in order to feel at ease in relationships. They don't give their partner instructions on what to and shouldn't do in a relationship by spoon-feeding them. Their only responsibility is to communicate their emotional requirements to their spouse a couple times and then watch how they are met. They observe how those in their immediate vicinity address their worries without reiterating them. Therefore, if they see no improvement in reciprocity and responsiveness, they will choose to depart. Sigma INFJs think that people would have given up long ago if they were willing to. Is it really that simple for a Sigma INFJ to end a relationship abruptly? Second, they don't take pleasure in comments and appreciation. Although they may respond courteously to sincere praises, most INFJs don't really need them. Exaggerated compliments usually make individuals feel encouraged or gratified, but because they have a realistic view of their talents, Sigma INFJs don't. They would therefore feel the same whether or not they received approval from others. That being said, they don't show their lack of want for help as loudly as they ought to. It's because they value the individuals who carried it out. They value the people who genuinely cared for them and stood by them. Simply put, they would be happy and self-assured whether or not they received social approbation. Even if others don't encourage them, they can concentrate on and succeed at their passions. Therefore, positive feedback from others who saw their efforts wouldn't increase their egos because they weren't reliant on it in the first place. First on the list, putting off obligations as long as there is no one who shares their interests. For a very long time, Sigma INFJs won't mind being single. Sigma INFJs aren't strange for purposefully avoiding commitments. Rather, they're merely getting ready for the proper one. As it happens, having no differences does not equate to being on the same wavelength. Being compatible does not equate an ideal friendship. It entails not having to interpret their spirits for a friend or lover. It entails not having to put in extra effort to let their partner know what their love language is. It's because they adhere to a comparable range of ideas, viewpoints, and realities. They have comparable objectives and travel the same route. Therefore, Sigma INFJs would prefer to be alone than to change their emotional demands in order to fit until they discover that someone. Do you, as a Sigma INFJ, steer clear of unneeded connections in order to make room for the ideal one? It's true that people don't have to grasp the motivations behind or methods used by Sigma INFJs, but they won't. There is a reason why Sigma INFJs are the way they are, and they serve that role fairly well. Which additional peculiar behaviors of yours fascinate you? Would you mind sharing your reasons for being who you are now?